PR Connections Radio presents.
Welcome to the Crypto and Cash Show. Here we are again, ladies and gentlemen, back at it, doing our thing, just trying to do a little education. My name is Uncle Dan Everett, and we got my buddy Bret Jenny over there, the ultimate crypto expert, the man that tells you everything about Bitcoin and all the other cryptos that are out there. And hey, I just try to give a little education, put my little 2 cents in. It's a continual learning experience in this industry. But at least, hey, the dollar is just not doing what it's supposed to do. You know, bricks and other things, the dollar is going to lose value. We've been talking about this for a while, but we're going to talk about that a little bit. But Bret's going to give you an update. What's up, buddy?
Not too much. If anyone's followed Bitcoin, it kind of took a dive last week. So it went down to like 57,800 or 700, something like that. But when she drops quick. I know that people, the high got to what, 74,000, I think.
Yep.
So it was due for a correction. People said about 30%, and then other people said it's going to dip down to 50,000. My thought on it is it could dip down to 50,000, or that was it, 57,000. Like, that's still quite a bit down from 74,000. So it's definitely corrected itself. But, like I always say, every cycle is different with Bitcoin. And that's because you have new interest every single time, right? So when I got into Bitcoin in 2017, it was just retailers, like people like you and me and the average Joe that started buying Bitcoin and getting into Bitcoin. And then it went through a bear run. And then again in 2021, when it took off again and hit its all-time high, then he started having institutional money. And now you have hedge funds, you have the stock market. So it's a whole new level of money that's involved now. And if you think about it, Bitcoin is now an ETF. So in a sense, Bitcoin is directly correlated with the stock market in some shape or form. So if stocks go up and down, or a stock can go up and down, why would Bitcoin not, in a sense, since it has such direct correlation to it now? I'm not saying all correlation, but enough. So, but you're starting to see the outflows of Grayscale, which was the primary Bitcoin holder before. And as they start to sell, you're starting to see it get picked up by BlackRock. So that scale of like 80-20 is 80-25, 75-25, 70-30. And it's just, BlackRock does what BlackRock does, man.
Buy it up, baby.
Buy it up. So
own the world.
Listen, if you've owned anybody who's owned Bitcoin for a period of 4 years or longer is way up.
Oh yeah.
Like there's no 4-year period that you've owned it that you haven't not only not lost, but you're way up.
Yep.
So, that would be and you don't need to buy a full Bitcoin. You can buy $100 worth of Bitcoin.
Yep.
You can buy $50 worth of Bitcoin.
That's true.
So dabble in it if you want. It's an alternative in a lot of people's worlds for a store of value. I would say research it.
I can tell you this, man, even with all the things that's going on with that, a lot of people, when I still try to talk about crypto and Bitcoin and Ethereum and, XRP, they're not getting it. They're really not.
They're not, I just had this conversation with a with a VC last week that I met during the Breathe conference when I was speaking there.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, this guy's a millionaire, man, in the tech world. He was a tech salesman for a bunch of years and before he started his own money. And he still plays in a band, right? So he lives in Arizona, but he goes back like once a month and plays in a cover band, and it's with a bunch of his high school buddies.
Right.
But these guys in his band, he's known his entire life. He's from Denver. They're all like attorneys or real estate. I mean, they're successful in what they do. They know what they're doing. They're good businessmen.
Mm-hmm.
All successful, all make money. And he's like, you know, I'm back for band practice and to play a show because I come back at 1 weekend a month.
Mm-hmm.
And we're sitting around. He's like, you know, I'm talking to them and they just don't. They just, you know, they just don't like. They're like, kind of like, well, what do you get in? What's in it for you? Like, why are you trying to sell me this? What do you get out of it? And he's trying to tell him, like, listen, man, I don't get anything out of you buying Bitcoin.
Right.
Like, you're not going to move the needle, not even a little bit. Like, it educate you and to tell you. And he's like, I'm just so frustrated that so many people kind of just shut their mind off from it. And I said, for the most part, I don't really just even try to explain it too much. I mean, I do on shows like this,
mm-hmm.
But I just don't. I just save myself the conversation, you know, because it like I get it in a sense. Like, how can you tell me that there's a store of value that people will give it, and it's something that's just online?
Right.
Like, they can't wrap their brain around it. So one way to wrap your brain around it, which is start with what you have right now, which is fiat. It's
mm-hmm.
not anything. So the value is not on paper, man. I mean, it is on paper, but it's not backed by anything. That paper's not, right?
It's not worth nothing.
With why don't you have a problem with that right now? So you can see how you can have value that's not something physical backing it, because we, in all honesty, don't have it right now. And the other thing I say is, you know, like, think about Google, right? If you go to google.com, how much do you think the person or company that owns that link, Google,
mm-hmm.
you think they're worth quite a bit of money? So if you have the rights or you own that link, you're worth a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you tell me that a link or a computer protocol can't be worth money? Mm-hmm. It absolutely can. Like, remember McAfee security systems?
Yeah. Yeah.
All that was a computer protocol.
Right.
He sold a lot of money in those selling that computer protocol. Windows 2.0, that's a computer like protocol in a sense. So those things already have value, but people just can't detach the idea of, you know, they try to get caught up in the technicals of it. And I'm like, don't get caught up in the technicals. You know, here's what it does is it does the same thing that a bank does, but it does it between peer to peer. And there's many things in place that make sure that it's honest and it's true. And you know look at the need that it can service the rest of the world, maybe not in the United States or a first world country, but look at the world where a lot of the world's in poverty. A lot of the world doesn't have a bank account. Think about the need that comes into play for them, you know?
You know what I saw the other day? I saw the first life insurance that was backed by Bitcoin.
You sent me that. I saw that. I took a look at that. Yeah, I'm telling you.
That's crazy. That's the first one I've ever seen. But they're getting smart. This takes one.
I mean, that's the thing is it comes down to adoption. And so what gives something value, Dan? A belief system.
That's right.
A collective belief system. You know, I have an envelope here, and I have like a $20 bill here. Why is one worth $20 and one's worth just a piece of paper? They're both pieces of paper. Why is one piece of paper worth more than the other? because it has all the markings and the symbolisms that we collectively as a whole give it better. But that's what it comes down to the roots, which is collectively we all give value to something.
Yeah.
And that's a belief system. As long as you believe that, because the reality is our fiat, our dollar's backed by nothing, but it doesn't matter to our belief system for that. It doesn't matter to the world's belief system to that. The world still gives it value because America is still the most stable country in the world to most of the world, if not all of the world.
Yeah,
but things change, which means belief systems will change. And now you couple it in with a use case of what Bitcoin can do, which is provide a bank account to people who don't have one.
Yeah. You see what's happening? I read a story about, what was that, El Salvador that highly vested in Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Right? And what that is worth now? They got a lot of heat by doing that back.
They did.
That was a few years ago.
You can go through the articles after articles of when they first changed their currency to that. And how the World Bank had a problem with it, and the World Bank basically said, okay, let them fall on their face. And then the bear market happened, and they were down, and they were looking like it was looking like a bad decision. He was looking pretty crazy. Yeah. And now Bitcoin's up at a record high, and he's looking like a genius. And another thing that he did was last week, I don't know if you saw the videos, if you go to Twitter, but the same president from El Salvador, he's like, what, late 30s, early 40s? He's like, man.
He's what?
This is live on video. He called his entire Congress and said, I just want everybody who's in this room to know that the Attorney General over there, I'm ordering him to investigate every single one of you from your past and in the future and the present for any corruption. And
really?
You've got nothing to worry about. Dude, think about that. El Salvador is going to be a superpower in 10 years. I guarantee it. And that's exactly what you need to do. He could get killed for that, but he straight up brought him into a room and said, hey, just so you know, all of you are being investigated. Enjoy your day.
Well, you know, he put all the gangs in jail. He cleaned up the country.
I'm telling you, in 10 years, there'll be a superpower.
Man, you know, there's still going to be some people that are trying to kill that dude, man.
Absolutely. Every true leader does, man.
Right.
Look at America.
Got a point.
You know, it's everywhere. That's what they do. But, you know, he kind of said, listen, I understand what's at risk, but I will not be associated. I will not have my name associated with corruption. I just won't. Right.
Good for him. And while I'm thinking about it, ladies and gentlemen, when we're talking about Bitcoin, we're talking about these other cryptos. I did not do our disclaimer. Our disclaimer is this show is strictly about education and entertainment. We are in no way promoting any particular crypto type coin for you to go purchase. We want you to do your own due diligence, rely on your own research. And once you understand what's going on, you're doing your own thing. And if you want to dibble and dabble, that's 100% up to you. But Bret is going to talk to you a little bit right now about where to go when you want to start doing a little research. And Bret, why don't you go ahead and kind of see what's going on with CoinMarketCap?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, a good place to start would be CoinMarketCap.com. CoinMarketCap.com. So they have all the different cryptocurrencies on there, but if you want to know kind of what's a good place to start, I would say take maybe the top 20 or 25, maybe 30 coins, and you can click on them. And within that, you can start doing, you know, they have different links and start doing your research and charts. I wouldn't necessarily pay attention to the charts as just having accessible links to be able to learn what they do.
Right.
And like anything, right? So how does a company debut on the stock market and then grow in value over the years? I mean, if you bought Amazon stock in 2010, it was $10. and now it's like $170 or something like that.
Right.
It's real simple because you look at what they do and you look at the real world value that it's going to provide. So that's what each of them will do, which is allow you to see what they do. And if you believe that blockchain's the future, I would say, what problem does this company solve or this blockchain solve? And then furthermore, who's behind it? True. Right? That has everything to do in the world. I mean, winners are winners, and they win. So look at their history and who makes up the company or the team. And if they're the type of people that get things done and make money, then like one of them is Theta, THETA.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
Right? So what Theta does is it essentially takes the extra bandwidth that you have on your computer right now. As we talk, we all have a little bit of extra bandwidth. We haven't used up all the space on our computer. Mm-hmm. So you log on to their protocol and it essentially uses that extra space on your computer as an engine to facilitate people downloading videos. So you ever go to YouTube video or some whatever, and it spins a little bit or it's a little slow and stops, whatever it is, that's because there's a bunch of people trying to go to that website or that video around the world at the exact same time.
Right.
And there's only a certain number of servers that exist in the world. Mm-hmm. What this does is take the extra space on your computer and acts as a server for those to reroute through you to use your space. And so now they're able to access it a lot quicker.
Wow.
Now, one of the co-creators behind this was the guy who started YouTube.
Oh, really?
Do you think that maybe it's going to, like, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you look at the use case and then you look at who the creator or the owner is, or part owner is, you can say, well, he's got a pretty good track record of knowing what he's doing and executing on something and being ahead of his time. It's fair to say, right?
You know his name?
No.
Oh,
not off the top of my head. I mean, I would just say,
what's the guy?
And so you buy Theta coin and then you go and stake it, which means you put it on their blockchain and they hold it for a period of like 6 months or a year, but that helps give their company value. Because now you can say, oh, we've got this many investors versus this many investors.
Right.
And then they can use that to get more power, to do more technology and so forth and so forth. So it's a way that you're investing in the company, but you're investing it through buying their coin.
I guess I was thinking about the guy that owns PayPal. He was, I think
Elon.
The other guy.
Elon did it first.
Oh, he did? Really?
Well, he was the original guy. He took it over and then made it big time.
Right. Okay. That man is something else, isn't he? Man.
Yeah. Elon, that's what I'm saying is everybody was, I did a few social media posts about Elon and Tesla, and everyone's like, oh, they're done. He's going, Tesla keeps on tanking. As you say this, it's gone down even more. I only need one argument, which is, do you think Elon's just going to stop being Elon?
Right.
Like, do you think he's just going to stop inventing things? Do you think he's just, he's the world's biggest posture because he actually only gets government money? It doesn't matter, man. Look at like what he's able to take an idea and execute on. Like, do you think people like that just don't stop being brilliant?
No.
So, you can sell it if you want, not buy it. I don't care. I'm going to buy more. I mean,
my buddy he's also a crypto expert. One of the big things about the Securities and Exchange Commission is they've been fighting, or he says they've just been stalling, delaying. They know what's going on, but they've been fighting and suing a lot of exchanges and just going anti-crypto for quite a while. And my buddy says, he said today, do you know who owns over 1 million XRP coins? I said, who? Gary Gensler.
Of course. Listen, I told you how, like, when I first started learning about Bitcoin, then I started learning about the technology behind it, which is blockchain. And how I first started learning about the technology of blockchain was from watching Gary Gensler teach a class at MIT, an introductory class about blockchain. So that's why it was really ironic and weird that of all people that's cracking down on crypto is the guy that I learned blockchain from. It's crazy, man.
He was at MIT, right?
Yeah, it was classes at MIT.
That's amazing.
It's crazy that this guy is.
I haven't heard him in the news a whole lot lately. Not since they lost that case with XRP. Not that that's 100% over with or not, but still.
Yeah, all he's left is just an opinion. You got BlackRock involved in it now, so
big boys.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, I will admit that when you're talking about other cryptos, is yet to be determined because the government wants some sort of control of it. So, like, Ethereum is not a proof of work. And so that's all the difference in the world, because proof of work means there's, in a sense, no kind of central authority.
Right.
Versus proof of stake. And that's the way that Ethereum protocol is run now, which is proof of stake. So
what is Bitcoin?
Proof of work.
Proof of work, okay.
Which basically means you need to, in order to approve the transaction, you need to show that you've done the work. There needs to be proof that the work of the algorithm was done. Proof of stake means you take a bunch of coins and you stick it over here, and they all stick in one area, and then you keep on pulling from that to be able to prove that whatever happened. The data being sent from A to B, well, now instead of having to go through all this thing to get over here, which you have to for Bitcoin, but it's decentralized. Ethereum used to be that way, but Ethereum said, well, it's getting so expensive and taking so long to send data from one person, from one thing to the other, that if we just have a bunch of people buy Ethereum coin and stick it over here, we can just have that pile approve the data. It's a lot quicker and it's a lot cheaper than having to go through the old school route.
Right.
But the old school route is completely decentralized. And that's all the difference in the world. Because if it's not, then there's a central, in a sense, authority, which then can technically, if the government wants to, come after them and say it's a security.
You think that's going to happen?
They have their own technology. But in a sense, that's not good for anybody, because all of these proof of works or proof of stakes have, like Ethereum, has smart contracts. Smart contracts is how all business in the future is going to be done.
Right.
All you're doing is taking a set of things that are going to happen in the deal. First, this happens, and then this happens, and this happens, this happens. And it's all automated and transparent and on blockchain. And it facilitates itself. That's why it's going to be the future, because it's safer, quicker, more efficient. But that technology you just can't take out, because that's what the future is going to be. But the government can say, oh, we're going to impose something on this, which is going to force their hand to have everybody use our technology, which does the same thing. That could happen. But you can't do that with Bitcoin. That's really the only one you can't do that with. That's why it's a great data, man.
Wow. That's crazy, man. Well, between, some people still are just, we're talking about what's going on with crypto and how it's not being adopted yet. Now, we know in the tech community, it's highly being adopted. And I'm talking about AI, but surprisingly enough, it's similar to crypto, man. People are either ignoring it, they're not paying attention.
Here's the thing, man. I really wish if people paid as attention to blockchain as they do AI, holy cow.
Right.
We'd have full adoption on everything.
Right.
blockchain is not something that's sexy and like there's some thought and how it works and all that stuff, right?
Right.
And it's just like, hey, contact us. We'll automate your business, and boom, it'll do all these things for you, and you can go on vacation and make triple the money and blah 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 and all those things. So, but to be fair, AI can do a lot of those things. Like I designed that chat bot for your website.
Right.
Last week, you sent me what? You sent me 3 or 4 different documents about what your program does.
Yep.
And then I went and copied the links from the different pages in your website. I loaded that all into basically one file, and then I was able to create a chat bot that will answer all those questions. And you tested it out. Yeah. Once that was created, it took literally 2 minutes.
All right.
Then I took the code from it, and I went to your website. Where do you have your website with? Through who?
GoDaddy.
GoDaddy. Or no, what's the platform? Not Wix, but
WordPress.
WordPress.
Yeah.
So then I went to your WordPress platform, and I embedded the code on there, and within 5 minutes, you had a chat bot answering all of your questions.
Now
chat bot, they did a survey with companies that exist right now, and the number one tool that they're the most impressed with, that they think brings them the most value, 80% of companies said that it was chatbots.
Really?
Which is funny, because like me doing automation, that's like the easiest thing in the world. Like, dude, you saw it took you 5 minutes to create a chatbot. That's like the easiest thing. It's like sending an email, and that's like what people feel. But that's how the power of AI. It's something that if you know what you're doing, you can set it up fairly easily, and it can deliver like that value to people.
Do you know what you did is basically R&D, pretty much research and development, the way you did it. Do you realize if you were a company that was profitable and they were doing what they do, and do you know how many billions of dollars are not even being claimed of our research and development tax credits? It's about $80 billion that's just sitting there waiting for the government to give them the money, and they're not even claiming it because they think it's only for the big boys who are doing strictly some type of technology. So obviously I'm going in that direction to try to educate as many of these tech companies that are doing AI. Hey, you guys got money coming, man. Because they just, you don't know what you don't know, and their CPAs don't know anything about it. They're very limited. They know, they've heard of it, but they don't know how to actually.
And what that chatbot does is it allows them to it allows you to answer the questions as if you were chatting with them, but you're not.
Right.
And it could be 1 o'clock in the morning in their underwear.
Yeah.
And your only worry is getting people to the website.
Right. Yep. That's it.
That's what's great about it. Now think about taking training manuals for any different job that you start at. That company has procedures. They have training manuals. All of those can be loaded up so that you're watching video, so that every single person has the exact same training, the exact same answers to everything. It's got videos and whatever it is. It points you, I've got this question, it'll point you exactly where it's at in the manual, all these different things that can all be implemented to your website.
That's amazing. Well, Bret, I think we're coming to the end of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for joining the Crypto and Cash show. We'll be back in another couple weeks with something live for you. Maybe we'll do something on a little different topic, or maybe we'll even bring on a guest. We'll see. We're going to talk about it. Bret, and how can people get a hold of you?
You can either go to my realtor website, which is simplyyourhouse.com, or click brick.xyz. One of the two.
That's pretty cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get a hold of me and find out if you're a company with at least 10 employees and above, there's a lot of money out there available for you that you don't know about. You can either go to my website, uncledanconsulting.com, or you want to send me an email, dan@uncledanconsulting.com. We're here to serve. We're here to help. We're here to educate. We will see you guys in 2 weeks. Talk to you later, Bret.
Thanks, everyone. See you then.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.